defense. Now, the agreement also grants Al Mansour an exclusive government right to a full value chain partnership in the diamond sector, covering mining, processing and trading. To dissect more on this topic, we are joined by public finance expert Professor Emmanuel Botlhale to explore how the landmark agreement will help resuscitate Botswana's ailing economy, foster diversification beyond diamonds, and create both employment and business opportunities for Botswana. Mr. Botlhale, welcome to the Daybreak.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Good morning.
Yes.
Let's get into what our key takeaways might be on the key strategic areas of investment that have been needed all along in Botswana. Before we had this investment coming in, what really has our economy been, crying out for, ailing mostly in and needing investment in those areas?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, this is obviously the hottest topic in town. At least from last week, we read from newspapers and rated media about this very big event, which I think is exciting news for all of us, given that we know that since 2024, really our economy has been really ailing. Diamonds are not selling. You see a sluggish growth, all of these things. So meaning that we're at a point whereby we need to be thinking about resuscitating, reviving the economy. And one of the things that obviously we need to do is to look at areas in which we can invest, because certainly we need to drive certain sectors of the economy. And obviously, as we progress with the conversation, we'll talk about what those areas will be. But at this point, we really need to do something about the economy, and obviously investment becomes critical at this point. Thank you.
All right. Now, we are seeing that this investment is looking at areas like infrastructure, cybersecurity, energy, agriculture, tourism, just to mention those, and defense. And would you say that these areas have been the areas of need?
Well, of course, we are talking about 14 areas, and then, of course, there are some of the examples that you're just giving.
Yes.
But obviously, what we should be starting at is to say, what are the key drivers of the economy? What should we be doing to really resuscitate or revive the economy? So certainly, a sector like infrastructure becomes very important, because you can't talk about growth and development without talking about infrastructure. I mean, we need to put money where it matters most, which is really infrastructure. Because if you have the right infrastructure in place, you now have one of those key drivers of growth on the one hand and development on the other. And then, of course, obviously, we are talking diversification. Yes. I mean, it's something that we've been really running with since in the 70s. People tend to think that diversification is like yesterday or 2008 with the Kamad Mystery. No, it has been there. It's just that if you look at WFAP and all these other interventions, this was really about diversification. So where we sit right now is that there's now need for more diversification. So agriculture becomes very important. It's our bedrock in terms of the rural economy. So you can't talk about rural economy without talking about agriculture. It becomes very critical in this stage. Then we talk about tourism. To me, tourism also becomes another important sector, because if you are going to diversify away from diamonds, then you necessarily need to be talking about tourism, high-end tourism, where for us it's low volume but high revenue tourism. Then, of course, cybersecurity is very important, but to me, I just want to say, where do we need to focus most of our energies? Certainly, we need to be talking about those drivers. And then, to me, infrastructure, agriculture, tourism, very important. But, of course, these other sectors are also very important. Of course, obviously, cybersecurity, energy. Remember, energy also becomes critical, because it's one of the drivers of growth. If you don't have reliable energy sources, the economy is in trouble. I mean, you saw some months ago when we had load shedding and other issues, you could see that that was really not good news for the economy. So to me, those are the key areas that I think if we want to revive the economy, grow and develop, particularly given post-COVID-19 fiscal challenges, those are areas that we need to put money into. But obviously, we can't do everything at the same time. Rome was not built one day. So with the 12 billion that we have, So we can really now try to prioritize to say what are those key areas that we need to put money into. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. When you said Rome was not built in a day, I remember that statement. They said they want to make Botswana the Doha of Africa. So we're looking forward to seeing what's really going to be happening. Now, speaking of which, let's talk about the merits needed when we ought to, or those that we need to consider before we accept any investment or foreign investment or investment from other countries. What really are those merits that we need to be looking at, the criteria? And, you know, if we are to be prudent also in how we take care of our own economy, of our own land, Botswana.
Yeah, no, actually, what is happening is that, one, we need investment. But of course, we are not necessarily saying we need investment at any cost. So meaning that we have to be deliberate in terms of what deals we get into. And because remember, at the end of the day, we are looking for strategic partners. So the question is, what is this investor bring to the table? How does that align with our strategic interest as a country, Botswana, isn't it? So meaning that, yes, we need investors, but then it has to be a win-win situation. I mean, we have two parties here coming to the table. So yes, we need the investment. You have somebody who says, yes, I have money that I can invest. But on the day, we have to be meticulous in terms of making sure that these deals are win-win. They are strategic. On the end of the day, it's not about a horse and a horse rider. I think if anything, all of us need to be riding this horse. You can't be like a horse and a horse as rider. So to me, it means we need to do our due diligence. Right. Not only I think we should be talking about enhanced due diligence. To say, yes, we understand that you are willing to come on board, but then can we talk terms? Can we talk details about this? Because remember, they always say that the devil is in the details. So we always want to get into this to say, all right, we understand that you want to come on board, but then can we talk about the T's and C's so that we are now aware of all the ins and the outs related to this deal? Right.
Right. Now you mentioned the strategies there. Do we have these purpose-led investment strategies? Do we have them that we can say before we look forward to accepting any investment in any terms? This is our strategy. This is our work plan. This is the area that we want to put emphasis on. Like you said earlier, you mentioned a few that you believe at this moment our economy really needs more investment in. But do we have those to help the resuscitation of our economy?
Right. Now, I think at a broad level, really, even though we can't point to any black and white document that says this is, our roadmap in terms of what you want to do. But at a broad level, you are talking diversification. One of the reasons why we are in trouble right now is this mono, economy. I mean, a diamonds-led economy. Right. So what it basically means is that at a broad level, we can talk about diversification to say that this is really what is driving us. As much as this deal is about diamonds, but you see, that is only a part of the bigger puzzle. The issue now is about how we can diversify the economy from two things, from diamonds and government. Because when we talk about diversification, people tend to think about diamonds only. But see, there are two areas here. You diversify away from diamonds and government. You want to facilitate the private sector to lead growth and development. So for me, as much as I cannot point out to you any document in black and white to say this is what this strategy is about, but our investment at the end of the day is saying let's diversify away from diamonds and government. Yes.
All right. Maybe we can then speak about the risks attributed to these deals or to this particular deal. What are the risks that come with it? We are happy and excited to see that there's going to be a change, significant change in our economy in terms of the investments that are coming in, the $12 billion investment partnership. But what are the risks that come with such a deal?
In an ideal world, you want to get into a risk-free agreement or deal. Yeah. But of course, in real life, risk would attach to any deal. I mean, just driving here this morning from my house to here, I mean, I was risking, amongst other things, a car accident, right? So back to your question, obviously, this is a big deal. when you translate this $12 billion dollars into pula, that's a lot of money.
Yep.
So obviously, we want to make sure that this would now give us the results that we want, meaning that we should be talking about project success. This is more like a project. So you can talk about project success to say that we want these to succeed. But obviously, there will be risk involved in terms of saying, are we going to get the results that we want? Do we have the regulatory environment that would support this kind of venture, right? Then we can also talk about what is the ease of doing business in this country, because now, these investments now means business, isn't it? So do we make it easy for these investors to come in, set up businesses, and get into the business of doing business, isn't it? So, because remember, there will be partnerships, between the investors and ourselves. So then we can also worry about other, services that support this, this venture. So on the day, the biggest risk is failure, to say that, there is, this risk that we might not necessarily get what we thought we'd get out of it in terms of getting the economy going, reviving it or resuscitating it. Yeah. So, but on the day, we talk risk, and then how do we mitigate risk to make sure that we don't necessarily get into a space where, at the end of the day, the output or the outcome is not really what we are looking for. So meaning that there has to be in place risk management processes or protocols. Because you see, if you want to avoid risk, don't do it. But then we don't have a choice. You got to do this deal. So meaning that we understand that there's risk attached to this. So we need to have a risk management process in place.
Right. Speaking of risk management protocols, would you also say project management is one of those things that we really need to meticulously look at and make sure that they are well in place in any project, and particularly this one? Would you say that in the past, project management has been the problem? Because you mentioned that the biggest risk would be failure to accomplish what we wanted to do. So would you say that has been the case? And if so, going forward in terms of project management, everything involved with project management, the monitoring and evaluation processes in there, budgeting and all of those, and making sure we are doing everything to the T, what really needs to be done? What instruments do we need to have in place?
Of course, I would want to agree with you that we all know that project management, project delivery, has been a problem. And certainly, that's what I'm saying. Going forward, it means we need to do things differently. It's unfortunate that some of these things cannot be done overnight. But my sense is that we need to be thinking about how we can enhance project delivery, such that at the end of the day we deliver our projects at least according to 3 KPIs, key performance areas, on budget, time, and specification. So if we can get these 3 KPIs in place, then we are on our way to project success. Because at the end of the day, we want these projects to succeed. So that's why I'm saying we need to be thinking about areas around the regulatory environment. Does it facilitate, an investor to do his or her job, seamlessly? We can talk about, like I said previously, the ease of doing business is very critical. But then also, what about issues around work ethic? Because remember, we'll be partnering, with these investors. The work culture in this country, how does it look like? What about national productivity in this country? How does it look like? So you need to take all of these things into a basket and say, okay, if you want to do it better than we have done it before, it means we need to do things differently. And of course, some of these things will take time. Like for instance, the regulatory environment, it's a bit involved. But other issues, these are quick wins. We can run with it. But on the day, we cannot do what we've been doing in the past. This one needs a new paradigm shift. It's I was to be biblical, I would say, like Nicodemus in the Bible, we have to be born again in terms of how we deliver projects in this country.
do things differently.
Right.
Right. Thank you so much, Professor Botlhale, for your time this morning. Unfortunately, that's all the time we had today, but of course, we'll keep looking forward to more engagements with you, even if there are chances that you might not be around, but we're looking forward to deliberating more on these issues with you. But thank you so much for your time this morning, sir.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Now, as Professor Botlhale, of course, we're talking the $12 billion investment partnership with Al Mansour Holdings, the Qatar investment partnership that's coming into Botswana. What it means for us, what it means for government, what it means for every Motswana.